Hello, my name is Tom. The following video presentation has been constructed to answer the question, how is quality measured and controlled in professional accounting practices operating in Christchurch in 2014? To answer this question, an interview was conducted with a local chartered accountant holding the position as head accountant at DJCA. After answering the question at hand, I will then reflect upon my experiences involved in conducting the relevant research. Upon being presented with this question, my first objective was to find a source of information. I was fortunate enough to have a sibling who could put me in contact with a friend working as a chartered accountant. Once it was confirmed that I would have a source of information, I began structuring questions to answer the given topic. To do this, I partnered up with Berta, a colleague in my class. Our first task was to create a list of questions which we would like to ask. From this, we would be able to narrow our selection of questions down to 6 questions which we thought would best answer the topic at hand. An introductory email was prepared to outline the question at hand, and then the interview began. Before asking how quality is measured and controlled, I decided it best to determine what quality means to the accountant and her firm. And so my first question, how do you define quality? The answer in which I received was directed at the accounting profession rather than at the topic of quality, but that is okay, and so follows her answer. Quality is ensuring the accounts and tax returns are correct with minimal room for error. Quality is a measure of accuracy. I ensure quality in my work by taking the time to ensure it is accurate and correct to the best of my knowledge. From this answer, I gather that the accountant felt quite strongly about quality on a personal level. Although, from this response, I believe the key piece of information is that quality is a measure of accuracy. This clearly goes hand in hand with the accounting profession. Without accuracy, there is no reliability. My second question was directed at the topic specifically. What are the key ways in which you measure and maintain quality? To which I received the following response. I associate quality with time and effort put into something. I therefore measure something of higher quality if I know someone has put the time into checking the detail of the work. This is balanced with materiality, and I know that there is always a small room for error in the quality of my work because sometimes it is impractical or necessary to have a 100% guarantee of quality. I maintain quality by constantly learning myself, to ensure I am up to date with current practice, and within the firm we have a double checking system which improves the quality of our output. From this response I gather that there are 2 key ways in which quality is measured at DJCA. Firstly, items of work which involve a greater expense of time are regarded as requiring a higher level of quality. The second, seemingly more structured approach is by the use of a double checking system. The third question which I put forth was targeted more specifically to the control environment of the firm. I asked, do you have a quality control committee? If so, how do they choose which files to internally audit? To my surprise, there was no group in charge of control within the firm, as I received the response. No, our firm is quite small, so we rely on our 3 yearly mandatory audits from NZECA, which advise us on our quality control. We just had an audit last year and passed successfully. In hindsight, it is clear that a cost-benefit approach has been taken due to the size of the firm. My fourth question was, do you have procedures for senior staff to review the work of junior staff? What are they? The response that I received was, yes. As the most senior accountant at our firm, it is my responsibility to review the majority of jobs prepared by either my peers or our junior and intermediate accountants. A small portion of the jobs will be prepared and reviewed by our CEO, and a portion of the smaller, more straightforward jobs will be reviewed by our other 2 senior accountants. DJCA therefore relies quite heavily on controlling quality by the head accountant reviewing the work of her peers and lower level accountants. This would not be possible in larger firms, such as one of the Big Four, as this responsibility would need to be spread amongst a group of higher-level accountants, rather than resting on the shoulders of one person. My fifth question was, how often are quality control procedures reviewed, and have any changes recently been implemented? The response that I received was, I think quality control procedures are very similar in any chartered accounting firm providing business services to clients. Probably 80 to 85% of our clients are very small to medium-sized businesses, and therefore quality control is less of a concern. It used to be that all senior accountants prepared and finalized their own jobs and met with clients. It has now changed so that we have more of a two-step practice. This being a processor and a reviewer. I believe this change means we are able to ensure a higher quality of our work output. From this response, it appears as though DJCA would take more of a responsive than preventative approach to quality control. As their current quality control procedures appear to serve them well, they most likely would only review or implement changes when problems arise. My final question was, are there any ways in which you feel quality could be improved? The response I received was, I think quality could be improved further by creating more consistency within the office. We have had a lot of staffing changes and it takes time to become familiar with clients and jobs. I think it is also important to note that sometimes quality variances come down to personality types. My personality type is very low risk, therefore I am always concerned with the quality of the work that I produce. This is not the case, however, as other accountants in the office take a much more laid-back approach, which may mean quality is compromised. If it were my practice, I would put further procedures in place to ensure a higher level of quality. This final question best concludes my research. As DJCA is a smaller accounting firm, their quality control is somewhat simplistic, and that is okay. No matter the size of the firm, one can assume that employees and management could always find new ways of improving quality. In Christchurch, as has been evidenced from DJCA, quality is controlled by a hierarchical approach, giving responsibility to the top accountant to assess the work of lower-level accountants. The measurement of quality is based around audits from ACCT. The reliance of these audits is understandable for a smaller firm, where the cost of an internal audit would outweigh the associated benefits. It would appear that this cost over benefit approach is part of DJCA's quality control as a whole. This is due to the lack of evidence received outlining specific control programs, although the accountant interviewed may have been hesitant to release in-depth procedures for quality control and therefore provided a picture of a somewhat informal quality control system. In comparing my findings to the Potter-Smith case study, there is one major difference which can be observed. A number of the firms in the Potter-Smith case had implemented a central quality control group to develop and implement quality control procedures and promote consistently high quality. Potter-Smith itself had a professional standards group, which was responsible for controlling the quality of the professional work. This was not evident within DJCA, as was revealed in the response which I received from my third question. Potter-Smith was a much larger firm than DJCA, and so this difference should not be of any surprise. Now that I have concluded my research, I would like to reflect upon my experiences of performing research inquiries and what I would still like to know. To do this, I will talk about finding an accountant to interview, devising a set of questions, the answers which I received to my questions, and how I dealt with those answers. I will then conclude with my feelings towards the overall experience of the assignment. I feel that I was extremely lucky to have such a positive experience with my informant. She was more than willing to help with my research. Although I did not know her personally, but through a sibling, this made for an easy connection. I would therefore be interested to know how this same situation would have played out had I approached someone with no prior ties. Perhaps things would not go so smoothly. For example, there may be hostility in answering questions. In approaching an informant with a tie to you, I suppose that there is some level of moral obligation for them to be of more help than that of a complete stranger. My experiences in devising a set of questions were mostly positive. As this was completed with the assistance of a colleague from my class, there was some debate over what would be the best format. This was most definitely helpful, as it meant that I was able to integrate someone else's ideas into my own. And from this, we were able to create a very well planned out set of questions. The main issue was working out how to best word the questions so that the responses could best relate to the topic without being too broad. This was coupled with the fact that we were using an accountant's time for free and so did not want to ask a multitude of questions. It also seemed like a good idea to incorporate questions which were directly aimed at the accountant, as everyone likes to talk about themselves, and this would hopefully produce more in-depth answers. As it turned out, the questions which were put forth were a success, as the answers which I received were more than adequate to draw upon to come to a conclusion on the given topic. From this, I learnt the importance of addressing questions at the topic directly and not beating around the bush. I also found that it was a good idea to not put any preconceived ideas into my informant's mind. Hence why the first question was to ask the informant of her personal meaning of quality. From an experience standpoint, it seems almost unfortunate how well my research went. This was largely due to having a very approachable accountant to interview and devising a quality set of questions. Because of this, I would still like to know what it would be like if I had to deal with hostile informants, had a poor set of questions, and was to receive inadequate answers. As I did not experience these situations, I had a very good experience conducting my research. That now concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.